What's up? What's up? What's up? What's up? What is going on, everybody? This your man Dre Mac coming to you again with another episode of the Dre Mac Show. 7:30 in the morning Central Time, 8:30 on the East Coast, and if you're on the West Coast, get up. The early bird gets the worm. And today, I'm going to go over the video I've been talking about for a minute. It's from Tiffany Bird Harrison. The Jonathan Majors perseverance is actually dangerous. But my question is rhetoric like this against our brother more dangerous than what you're saying about his perseverance award? But we're going to get into that. We're going to get into, what she's saying in this video. Again, I've always said I'm not going after the person. And I'm just saying this now. I reached out to this young lady myself. I reached out to her by email. She declined to come on the show. That's fine. She doesn't have to come on here because what I wanted to do was have a conversation about her video. No disrespect. Just let's have a dialogue. You know what I mean? Instead of me, trying to do these reaction videos. Sometimes these reaction videos can look like I'm like down in this person or whatever. It's just it's just critiquing their thought. That's it. Just critiquing their thought. And with this particular young lady, with Tiffany, I reached out to her so we could be able to have a conversation about this, and then we could go over it together. Maybe I'll learn something from you or whatever. She declined. That's fine. So I just emailed her back. Hey, I appreciate it. I'm gonna go ahead and do my thing with the reaction video. So that's what we're here right now. With this. So you can have a background because I don't want it to seem like I'm attacking this sister. I have nothing against this sister whatsoever. I don't know her from Adam. You know what I mean? I don't know her, period. But what I wanted to do, like I said, was have a conversation. And she could decline that conversation. That's fine. So me and you, everybody in the chat and everything, we're gonna go over this together. See what we think about it. You know what I mean? Do we agree? Do we disagree? Let's go over the actual video. But hopefully you guys are happy. Hopefully you guys are healthy. Shout out to my man Heavy Gant over at the Heavy Gant channel. But you already know how I do. The real question is, all right. Let's see who is all in the chat. Is that Cat? Is that Cat in the chat? What is up? Oh, yes, I can catch the first word. What up, Cat? Cat in the chat. What's up with it? What's up, Big Shamage up in this mug? As always, appreciate you. Good morning, good morning, good morning. Good morning, my brother, Junior Network. It's she. Good morning, my brother. Yeah, Torn said, what up, Dre? I'm so glad you went off yesterday. I could tell you couldn't hold that in anymore. I had to let it rip. I felt like a proud little brother that's got his older brother to the light. No, I just couldn't. It was, I'm trying to tell you, I'm going to just be real. No, I can't say that. I can't say that. I don't want to, but just say that I got some added motivation. You know what I mean? Trust and believe I got some added motivation to why I went off. And, trust me. Miss Sparks, good morning. Andre Ware, good morning. It's she, good morning. Kiro Black, what's up? Good morning. Dr. Keisha, what is up? Good morning. I can't wait to get Dr. Keisha need to come on here so she can calm me down. She need to be, my Betty Ross or my inner Hulk. That's what I need Dr. Keisha to do. Dr. Keisha need to be like, calm down, Dre. It's going to be all right. Because when I tell you yesterday, actually, it wasn't yesterday. Yesterday was the culmination. It was Sunday. Sunday was not, because I got a text message and I'm reading and I'm going back and forth with this person and it made me even madder. and it went downhill. It went downhill, and I had to make the video. Something I had to do something. Robert D, good morning, good morning, good morning, and thank you so very much for the memberships and the super chat yesterday. Of course, I've always appreciate you. And again, she said, yeah, I hear what she said. Make sure you hit that like button. Come on, get the likes up. Get the likes up. I saw that bid and unsubscribed. Some people probably unsubscribed to me. I got hit up so hard on Instagram because of my short. And what was crazy is that, I said what I said on my short, but I wanted people to understand is that it's chances. It had nothing to do with Robert Downey Jr. What I was using is an example of Robert Downey Jr., a person who got in a lot of trouble. See, I'm old enough. I'm an 80s baby. I remember when Robert Downey Jr. was a running joke because he kept going to jail after jail after jail after jail. Just doing the fool. But you know what happened? They kept giving him chances. That's all I was doing. And people would say, oh, I wouldn't compare Robert Downey Jr. to this. No. It's not what I was saying. I'm comparing chances. We're going to throw away our brother Jonathan Majors, but we can continue to give people that continuously to get in trouble with, whether it's self-inflicted or not, chances. That's all I was saying. And people do not have comprehension skills in this day and time. It is severely sad, honestly. What's up, J Rock the Apostle? Good morning. Good morning. She loves fantasy. Hi, Erica. How you doing? Percent. Good morning. Good morning. Yeah, like I said, I don't like being that mad. That's why I need Dr. Keisha to calm me down. Like calm it down just a little bit. Are we getting yeah. Cat has been doing the damn thing. So shout out to Cat with all that coverage on YSL and all of that. You know what I mean? So that's what's up. She said, I'm finished setting up the stream. All right. Let's get to what we came for. Let's get to this video. And again, I'm only critiquing the sister's take. I'm not dogging the sister. Would not do that. It's a couple people. Let me die. It's a couple people because of the rhetoric that they push. And then I have a problem because you're doing this intentionally to be able to bring another person down. And you're doing it to be able to get clout. It's not that you're looking for the truth and like, hey, this is truth. This is for gossip and clout. You know what I mean? That's when I got a problem with the rhetoric. But nonetheless, let's get to this. And let's go. Let's get to the sister's take and let's go.
Never hit a woman. My hands have never struck a woman.
In December 2023, Jonathan Majors was convicted of 2 misdemeanor assault and harassment charges by a New York jury.
Actor Jonathan Majors arrested today, accused of attacking a woman in...
Hold on, wait a minute. Did she say that he was a... Hold up, let me go back.
Harassment charges by a New York...
Hold up. I think I missed something.
Never struck a woman.
In December 2023, Jonathan Majors was convicted of 2 misdemeanor assault and harassment charges by a New York jury.
Okay. She said 2 misdemeanor assault. Okay. She actually let's go ahead and get started. She actually messed that up. He was convicted of reckless assault, which is a misdemeanor, and a city citation of harassment, which is not a crime in the state of New York. So let's get that out the way. And trust me, I'm sick and tired of this too. But when it comes to my people doing this, I have to, especially with the platform that she has, I gotta say something. That's why I wanted her on the show. Well, let's go.
Actor Jonathan Majors arrested today, accused of attacking a woman in a New York City apartment.
Shortly after the conviction, he sat down with ABC News for an interview to discuss his case and maintain his innocence for all charges. By April 2024, Jonathan was sentenced to a year-long domestic violence intervention program where he would face jail time only if he failed to complete the 52 weeks of in-person mandated counseling. And more recently, in June 2024, at the Hollywood Unlocked Impact Awards, Iyanla Vanzant presented Jonathan Majors with the Perseverance Award, where the recipient is one who has shown that no matter what adversity they face, they will continue to aspire to inspire. Y'all, I have so many thoughts about this. My message today is going to be a simple one. False humility is dangerous. It's so dangerous. But to give a warning from the top, this video think piece is not really about Jonathan Majors. This is about us. Majors is going to be our case study, but you and me, we are the students.
Okay, so let me just stop right there. When she said false humility, what's crazy about what she's saying, again, I'm using what we call the thinking cap. As a matter of fact, I'm using my thinking cap on this one. When you're saying false humility, you're saying that this person didn't learn his lesson, right? And he's not being, he's not showing humility for what is going on. But here is the problem with that. And Kat knows this because Kat was in the chat. You know what I'm saying? I was in the chat. I got mine deleted. You know what I mean? What the problem with this is that you can't be more humble than Jonathan Majors. And the humility that he's shown was, hey, I'm sticking to my guns on my innocence. Remember, he was found not guilty, and we know this, especially if you watch this channel. This is for all the people who's going to watch this on the recap. We all know that Jonathan Majors was not convicted of intentional assault on this woman. Harassment is not a crime. The harassment that they gave him is not a crime. You know what I mean? And intentional assault does not mean that he harmed anyone, right? We know this. So now that we know that, I got to change this ratio a little bit. I want to make myself a little bigger. But we know this, right? We know this. Dr. Carpio Perfusion, Blue, what's up? We know this. So when he comes out and says, I never struck a woman before in my life, we can actually go back to the transcripts of the court, and Grace Jabari said herself that he never put his hands on me prior to March 25th, 2023. If I'm lying, I'm dying. Let's keep going. So that opening intro, he never put his hands on this woman. But let's go. Let's keep going. Let's keep going.
Now, I can't tell you how many times I have sat down to record this video and can't, because there's always a new development every few minutes.
She's an angel. She's held me down like a Coretta, you know.
So come out.
So I'll start off with what I remember about my first time seeing Jonathan Majors in The Last Black Man in San Francisco. That's when I first met Majors as an artist and casual observer. But Grace Jabari met Jonathan Majors during his ascent to the A-list on the set of the Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania.
Have I killed you before?
And this is where I find Jonathan's first major mistake. A mistake that many of us make when we're already on a mission. Distraction in the form of whatever it is we most desire. With Jonathan coming in as a Marvel villain, this was supposed to set him up as a major movie star. Not only would it come with global stardom, but it also would have a check to match.
The level of difficulty is high, you know, and the character is quite high profile.
But Majors forgot the path that he was on. He made an error in judgment, one in which he would end up in a toxic love match with his then girlfriend and become a form of a trauma bond at best and a manipulative, controlling paradigm at worst. And I'm not at all insinuating that it was all Grace's fault. In fact, I would argue that Jonathan saw what he needed to see and proceeded anyway due to his ego.
Now, you're going to hear this come up because I've already watched this video. You're going to hear the word ego come up a lot, which is telling me that instead of looking at the whole entire paradigm of the relationship, I'm not saying that Jonathan did not have his faults. In the paradigm of their relationship, He's actually admitted those faults. And what I mean by the paradigm, the whole total structure of this relationship. But if we're going to give Jonathan Majors portions, 50% because of his ego, can we also give Grace Jabari 50% because of her ego and where she thought that she landed at? Let's go into deeper thought on this. Now, when I look at this, when she's putting up these text messages, is she going to mention that, number one, that these text messages are taken out of context? So we don't have the full the one thing that I learned to school when I was a kid is the who, what, where, why, and when system. If I can't answer all of those, then how can I determine where is this conversation going as far as the overall spectrum of those text messages? But again, those text messages has nothing to do with what happened on March 25th, 2023. Also, what is not being put up here is the text messages Grace sent him the night of. Remember when she said, when she called him 34 times and texted him repeatedly? You know what I'm saying? Where he was like, where's my key? Goodbye, Grace. And she said all that other, that's going to be omitted. Now, are we showing Jonathan's ego, or we're showing a narrative that is placed on Jonathan based on the information that we have gathered from mainstream media? That is the question. And to me, you cannot determine somebody's ego or their thought process or anything based on misinformation that is at best not fully contextual. If you get what I'm saying, let's go.
But I don't want to get ahead of myself. If Jonathan Majors struggled to love himself or struggled with self-worth and therefore struggled to love others well, then his distraction was this relationship, a test that he failed. Now, that's pretty harsh because I do not know Jonathan Majors personally, so I'm going to use him as an example, but I would really ask that you separate him from the person versus the principle, meaning this is meant to be a parable, not an assessment of him as an individual who, once again, I don't know. So many disclaimers. I really hope y'all eat me up in the comments because I'm ready to argue.
Oh, hold on, wait a minute. No, she wasn't. No, she was not ready to argue. Ask Cat. When Cat put down all the information about what Jonathan Majors went through and why he deserved the Perseverance Award, she sat Cat down and said, this is about us. She didn't even want to argue. She deleted my comment. She could say she didn't, but she deleted my comment. And then she said, well, I apologize for your comment being deleted, but did not want to come here and let's talk about the parable. Now, if you're using Jonathan Majors as a parable, then you have to be contextual on what happened with Grace Jabari and her side also. So you can't leave out, you can't look at Jonathan Majors in one light, but leave out the main protagonist or antagonist in this same, again, paradigm of a relationship. Let's keep going.
My point is that discernment when you are on purpose and you have a call in your life is so important. Developing it when you are unknown is a privilege. And I know I'm speaking to somebody who is watching all of the Jonathan Majors hoopla, praying for his return, or maybe praying for him to get help. You might be watching this more cynically and saying, nah, that lady was to blame. She lied. She was the abuser. She chased him down the street. She targeted him to end his career. Let me caution you against.
Is majority of that not true based on evidence? I'm separating myself from me and Jonathan in all of that. I'm separating myself based on the evidence that was there, right? Did she not say that she was scrappy with him, in court? Number one, was there not evidence of his arm, his face, you know what I'm saying, and his coat being ripped? Far as evidence, right? Do we not see her chase him down the street? Say he's the abuser with the ego, right? So why is she chasing him down the street? Why didn't she say that Jonathan Majors beat her in the car when she went on the corner of Lafayette Street and she met those strangers? Instead of saying what happened that night with them because she was in the wrong, So that means she lied or she omitted information. She went to go kick it that night and got drunk, right? And then she went and passed out in this man's closet after sending him so many text messages, which I could be able to bring up, but let's just go and say that the majority of what she just said, while she's trying to caution everybody, is technically true based on the information, based on the series of events that happened. Let's keep going.
Looking for simple answers to complex problems. Is this a true Samson and Delilah story? I'm not so sure, but let's draw some parallels. In the Bible, there's an Old Testament story about Samson. He was set apart by God from birth and was destined to begin the deliverance of Israel from the hands of the Philistines. Samson's miraculous strength was found in his long hair, which symbolized his vow to God to remain uncut while the Lord was with him in every fight against his enemies. But Samson had a very big weakness: women. And when the Philistines sent Delilah to uncover the secret to Samson's strength, she seduced him into a false sense of security, cut off his hair in his sleep, and left him defenseless to his enemies.
What up, Tracy?
Now, the reason I'm using the story is because the Kids Bop version of this may lead you to believe that it was all Delilah's fault that Samson was captured. She manipulated him, used his secret for her people's gain, and took down a powerful hero in the Israelite camp. But the truth is actually more nuanced. Because just like Delilah played her role and caught this man off guard, Samson wasn't vigilant to protect his vow to the Lord. He pursued Delilah, which is explicitly against what God told him to do, and got played in the process. In other words, he played himself. And similarly, Jonathan Majors' ex has taken a ton of heat for her role as people label her a liar, a gold digger, a socialite looking for her 15 minutes of fame. We can't say with...
Okay, let's go. Let's go back. Let's go back just a little bit. So when we're looking at the way she's presenting this parable, right? You know, yes, he fell for her. Why did Samson? I'm about to get churchy on y'all. Well, why did Samson fall for her? Right? Did she not entice him? Did she say sweet? Did she not say sweet things in his ear? Did she not, of course, he was supposed to give his vow to God, but he's only human. And what we tend to forget is that, that we're only human. We're going to go through some things. But that is the reason why he went through what he went through and he got his comeuppance, right? Was he not redeemed? Yeah, he made a fail, but did he not get back up? She might have cut his hair, but did his hair not grow back? And did he not get redemption for what he felt? What he did? Yes, he fell for somebody who was saying a whole bunch of stuff to him just to trick him. Isn't that parable is how, you know what I'm saying? We could be able to hear from the Most High, but the devil is constantly in our ear, and sometimes we fall, but the get up is greater than the fall down. Let me not talk about that because that would explain too much in this particular context. Jonathan Majors might have got with somebody who was all in his ear. They're not thinking about that on his way up, saying everything that he wanted to hear, right? But then also start playing with his emotions, start playing with the way that he operates. You know what I mean? And tried to bring him into a part of the self, the self-doubt within himself. Because truth be told, partners can do that. If you get with the wrong partner, or sometimes you don't even know, you just got to go through. Sometimes you get with people you don't know what their intent is. You know what I mean? You just got to go through till you see their intent. And then once you see their intent and you fall, you don't stay there, you get back up. But that's too much to say because we're trying to look at Jonathan Majors not being human. Even Samson, as an Israelite, was human. He wasn't Jesus. He wasn't Adam. Even Adam fell. But Samson was supposed to fall so he could be able to see the error in his ways so he could get back up. But we're not talking about that part.
With absolute certainty that she isn't any of those things. But what we can say Jonathan Majors and Grace Jabari were in a toxic relationship, as evidenced by not only audio recordings of his bizarre behavior.
I'm a great man. A great man.
We're going to get to this too.
I am doing great things.
But also the text message.
You know what's confusing about this? Yes, it can sound bizarre if all you're hearing is a black man tell a white woman that you need to be more. Do you know who Coretta Scott King is? Michelle Obama. And I've said it before, there's a pocket, because I got to say it like this. There's a pocket of black women that are still pissed off that he said to a white woman, do you know who these black women are? And the sacrifices they made for their man. You know what I mean? Not separating the characteristic from the skin color. It's just because he said that. You know what I mean? Now, I've always said, would I say that? No, I'm not looking for a Coretta. You know what I mean? But maybe he is. What's wrong with the characteristics of those two women that you wouldn't want to find in a mate? Right? What is wrong with that? But the other part of this, that when I'm listening to this, is that you didn't even point out, Tiffany, that she secretly recorded this man. Why did she secretly record her man? And you didn't put it in context. Why was he going off on her? Did she not come home drunk? Then also having somebody else in their house? That's why he said, why are you disturbing the peace of my house? Tiffany, wouldn't you want peace of your house if I was your man and I came home with my buddies drunk as hell, and the buddies that I just that I'm kicking with, I just met? Isn't that the same thing that she did on Lafayette Street? That she met random strangers, went to go kick it and all of that? She didn't even know them people. It wouldn't. And she used Jonathan Majors' card for her expense. Again, we didn't put that in the context, though. Let's keep going.
Text messages, which I think were the most damning to the type of control that was being used against each party.
Majors writes, it's just fake. And I fear you have no perspective of what could happen if you go to the hospital. They will ask you questions. And as I don't think you actually protect us, it could lead to an investigation, even if you do lie and they suspect something. Jabari responds in part, I will tell the doctor I bumped my head if I go. I'm going to give it one more day, but I can't sleep and I need some stronger painkillers. That's all. Why would I want to tell them what really happened when it's clear I want to be with you?
Scapegoating doesn't...
Which again, even those text messages was taken out of context. We still don't know what happened that day. There's been no police report from London. Again, that's another thing. That was from London, September of 2022. We don't know, A, what actually happened and what led to those text messages. We're only speculating. And those text messages was heavily redacted in court. So we have no idea the broad perspective of what happened. You know what I mean? But Grace gave us a clue in that when she went on the stand in the first day of testimony, I believe, and she said, he never put his hands on me. And since we don't have a police report from London, then we cannot say, 100% for sure that he put his hand. We can say 100% for certain that he didn't put his hands on her, because Grace said it on the stand under oath. So she said it under oath. Whether she's lying or not, she said he never touched me before March 25th, 2023. But again, that's out of it. It is not placed in context. You're trying to show a parable, but you're pushing also a narrative of horrible rhetoric against our brothers to say this is an overview of what we should and should not do as human beings. Let's keep going.
Solve the root issue of this case. Because while we were typing our best armchair defenses in the court of public opinion, John was trying to outrun his pattern. Now, trigger warning for discussions about domestic violence. The case revealed a toxic...
I want to know what pattern did he show? So let's get to the point where she's talking about the pattern. What pattern did he show?
Toxic pattern of John's consistent manipulation and control. Abuse that had little to do with the physical fights and more to do with forcing compliance. Now, he being convicted of reckless assault in the 3rd degree and harassment, which is a misdemeanor and a violation, but he was found innocent on the other 2 charges that said he intentionally tried to cause harm to Grace in their altercation. But We have to remember that domestic violence is not just about hitting someone. DV can also be psychological. So here are some examples. Isolating a person from their friends, family, colleagues, stalking their movements or controlling how they spend their time, monitoring social media accounts, or
You know what's funny about this? She said that he had a pattern of this based on the Coretta Scott King conversation. Because you can't draw this conclusion without going there for what he said about him being a great man. It's something about if I say that, if I come home, right, and I say, I'm daddy up in here. What the hell are y'all doing, not cleaning up in here because I'm daddy? You know what I mean? Somebody go say, well, you're being narcissistic. If I pay all the bills up in this mug, I can say what the hell I want to say. That's what I was told when I was a kid. I couldn't say anything when I was a kid because, my uncle was like, hey, I pay the bills up here. I can say what the hell I want to say. And so how is that a pattern of behavior is what I'm curious about.
tracking their phone, taking control over aspects of a person's life, such as where they can go, who they can see, depriving them access to support services such as healthcare, making threats or using intimidation to force a change of behavior or choices, damage to property such as destruction of household goods and valuable personal items. And the list goes on. Now, just off the top of my head, there was evidence of at least 4 of those from both parties, but Majors is the one on the chopping block. And recordings, really quick, do you know how consistent the things you say are, that if someone can trap you?
It's funny that she said that this hit me. Where she said Majors is the one on the chopping block. So we're going to excuse the other party because Majors is, again, no different than Alvin Bragg. Majors is the big fish. Let me go after the big fish because if I go after Grace Jabari as a woman, well, yeah, I might get more heat than if I defend Jonathan Majors. And I'm not telling Tiffany to defend anybody. But when you say certain things like he's on the chopping block. So what I'm going to do is take my hammer and continue to nail this thing home because I haven't did any research outside of what the mainstream media has said, which I'm not mad. A lot of them do that. But then there's people like me, Cat, Blue, Chillmonger, Pam, Tina, Cat, you know what I mean? Dr. Hines, and all of us who know the truth, but people like this would not come out and just sit with us when we were not only covering this, but hell, got to speak with Jonathan himself. Let's keep going.
Into an audio recording, there has to be some level of predictability when there's a pattern to your behavior. The pattern that helps an actor lock into a PR pivot, even when there's no PR team to speak of. The pattern that holds a Bible in the courtroom and a Coretta Scott stand-in to your left to catch all the criticism downwind. And speaking of
I told you she was going to, she's not slick. She's taking shots at him. Remember, hold up. Remember, this is supposed to be a parable. It had nothing to do with Jonathan Majors, but you're taking a shot. So call her this year, Coretta Scott King standing and a Bible in his hand. Do you know that is a pattern that Jonathan has did? Red beanie, Bible in his hand, or the mug in his hand. You know what I mean? That's like the patterns of Jonathan Majors. If she knew more information besides, her watching The Last Man in San Francisco.
in, Megan has awful timing. The Tyler Perry movie Divorce in the Black just dropped, starring Megan Good and Corey Hardit, which I haven't seen because
Tyler Perry. Popeyes has the best of both wings.
Our
juicy chicken is marinated to perfection.
They would do a Popeyes commercial in the middle of this.
the movie is not just about divorce, but domestic violence.
I don't condone domestic violence at all, 1000%. And for me, I just have to leave it there because anything else that I say can be taken a different way or taken however somebody may want to take it. So I'll just be very clear in saying that's something I do not condone.
So recently, Megan's been dropping some insight into her own journey of resetting her life and her relationship with Jonathan Majors in various interviews.
We have been in a space of a bubble. We come outside and we have to. and we need to, but we've really existed inside this bubble, and it's been wonderful, and it's been very happy. And it's crazy because even with everything going on, this is the happiest I've been in a long time.
Admittedly, I've only seen the handful of clips and interviews that Megan has done on the circuit around her relationship and even on her previous marriage to Devon Franklin, but I'm not going to spend too much time here. I just wonder why on earth this would be appealing to her at this time.
Well, if instead of watching it, this is, again, I'm using this contextually. I'm not dogging the sister. What I am going to critique is, I think, Wonder Woman said I need to get my journalist or whatever. When people do these essays, right? When you do an essay like this, what you want to do is the most research that you possibly can, so there's no holes in your argument, right? I shouldn't have to come up here and be able to point out the holes in your argument. So there's a video of Megan Good talking about her relationship. You know what I mean? If you listen to the whole entire thing, they met. Jonathan even said, are you sure? I don't think we should be, we should be out in the open or whatever, because I got this going on. And she decided, I don't care about that. I want to be with you. And hell, what is not being said is that maybe, just maybe, if you thought about this, and this is not to her, but just in general, have you thought maybe he needed Megan at this time? Remember, she brought up biblical, the Bible with Samson and using a parable. So remember, I would just tell you like this: in Acts, when Saul was on his way to Damascus after just persecuting the Jews, right? And then God, wow, the Most High knocked him right off his animal, right? And he looked up in the sky and he was like, who is this? The Lord went and called him right. The Most High went and called him right there, right? Now, everybody looking at him was like, hey, ain't you the dude who is just murdering, you know what I'm saying, the Israelites? But he got called for a higher purpose, for something that he needed, right? How you don't know God was talking to her and put it on her heart that Jonathan needed somebody? Because let's be honest, all of us who is really covering this story always said, well, where are the people that's in Hollywood that is on Jonathan Major's side? Who is going to speak for him? By damn, Megan was the only one. So while everybody was leaving him to his own devices, leaving him by himself, Megan was there. How we don't know that God really sent her there to be able to cover him at that point in time? Because sometimes you never know where the Most High is going to cover you at. He might send, if he could talk through an animal, and I'm preaching now, because I know the Bible, but if he could talk through an animal, how you know he didn't send her to make sure that he was covered through his darkest and hardest times? Just like how Joseph was in that pit. You know what I mean? And he was covered through the times he was in his darkest hours in the pit, where his brothers didn't even recognize him, but he was in the pit in his darkest hours. Somebody had to cover him. Just because you don't like who covered him, you don't like the relationship that you had, doesn't mean he wasn't covered. Lady, you got to get a little bit better on your biblical principle if you go come with the Bible. Let's keep going.
I think about what Pastor Jerry Flowers says about recovery. I'm going to paraphrase, but he says in one of his sermons that when you've been injured and you're going through a period of healing and recovery with the Lord, you have to be careful how you move in that recovery. When the doctor gives you aftercare instructions, you're supposed to follow them to a T, because depending on how you move after surgery, you could either re-injure yourself or prolong your healing journey. And that has been so freeing to me personally. So when I look at Megan Good and I think about the parable of all of this, we have to allow ourselves to be very careful about the environments that we enter in after we've gone through healing. And I'm not sure why she would get so close to this flame. And
again, how can you at the same time, how can you tell her what she can and cannot do when she told you why she did it? If you go, and again, when you're writing these essays, it's probably why you took 3 or 4 times to write this essay. because instead of doing a lot of research and putting that in there and giving us a non-biased perspective, you're saying, well, why did she go and put herself in there when she was on, the morning show, and saying exactly why she was there? She said it. So are we going to believe you, or are we going to believe Megan, who is actually in the situation? And she even said, people told me I should be there, but I chose to be there anyway. I chose. So that means this is my decision. If I want to cover this man, let me cover this man. Who are you? Now, I do understand. I agree with her with healing and to be able to put yourself in around situations. But sometimes you never know what the Most High will put you in until you get in there. Let me keep going.
And Megan Good says that Jonathan tried to discourage her from dating him. She even says that her close friends cautioned her about moving forward with him.
At the end of the day, one thing I know is I can always look myself in the mirror when I trust my spirit, when I trust God, when I ask God, and when I, move to the beat of my own drum. I can always look and say, okay, I'm proud of that. No matter whatever happens, I have peace in my heart and I have harmony in my heart. And it's only when I do something based on someone else saying, well, I think you should do this. And I take everyone I love's opinion and advice into account for sure. But at the end of the day, I'm the one who has to live my life, and I'm the one who has to, get to heaven one day prayerfully and give God an account of what I did. And so I want to be responsible for the choices that I make. And I also want to live the life that I want to live.
Oh, okay, Megan.
So she's mad because Megan said, I want to live my life. I'm going to be honest with you. And I said this out loud, and I had to replay this back in my head. This sounds like Christian feminism. What does Christian feminism mean? When you use the feminist movement against men, but you're also trying to pile on biblical principles on that, which is contradictive. So you will use the Bible to be able to not only talk down on the man because he went through a situation, but you're also going to let the sister be down on the sister based on what you believe and not what she got to go through. And it seems like a lot of not all Christians, but there's Christians that try to tell you what you should and should not do in your life. Instead of saying, what did God tell you to do? What did the Most High God tell you what you should and should not do in your life? Did you hear from God? Did you believe it? Well, instead of saying, God bless you, let me judge you in your iniquities because I feel like you're going through iniquity. You get how many times you got with that man, girl? He just did this and he just got out of that. You don't know what the Most High got for me. But then we go to church and sing it. What God has for me, it is for me. What are we singing that for? What are we singing for if that's not the case? Let me keep going.
Now, what I said about distraction on the way up also applies on that humble elevator on the way down. How we choose to involve the people around us when we're going through a scandal is just as much an indication of our heart posture as when we choose to involve them. The perfectly timed photo op can often backfire if it feels too convenient, too planned. But public displays of affection can make a redemption arc feel less genuine. The proof really has to be in the pudding. And chocolate pudding is a very convenient flavor. But you know what?
Again, what she just, and again, shout out to her editor. I'm glad he did this because what she just said without saying it.
Public displays of affection can make a redemption arc feel less genuine. The proof really has to be in the pudding. And chocolate pudding is a very convenient flavor.
What she's saying is, you wasn't trying to, I'm going to break it down for you because she didn't say it out loud. But again, this had nothing to do with a parable. This was an attack on Jonathan Majors. This is why she didn't want to argue in the comment section. This is why she liked what everybody had to say, but didn't have no smoke for when you brought the smoke. What it really is that you're really mad because Jonathan was with a white woman. And now he's with Megan Good. And you're like, sister, he didn't want us anyway. He was with them white girls. And now he's with Again, I told y'all, it was just because he was with a white woman. This has nothing to do with Jonathan Majors in a pair. This is a narrative. This is a narrative essay that you're pushing, Tiffany. And I just broke the Da Vinci Code of it. You're mad because he went from Grace Jabari to Megan Good. That's it. And then everything else is a narrative that you got from mainstream media. But then when people like me and Cat and everybody is reaching out to you like, hey, we're close to the situation. Come talk to us. Maybe we could be able to. You didn't want none of that. You didn't want to talk to us. So there you go. Let's keep going.
But you know one person who lacked convenience? Coretta Scott King, the wife of Martin Luther King Jr., Coretta Scott King, who Majors inappropriately asked his ex to be more like, was not a woman.
He didn't say that. He said, do you know who that is? Do you know who Michelle Obama is? That's what he said. And the sacrifices they made for their man, he didn't say, hey, be like Coretta.
Woman who followed after convenience. She understood PR well, and to stand with Martin knowing his personal and public indiscretions, his unfaithfulness to their marriage must have been devastating.
Okay, I'm gonna have to, because I'm gonna cut this short about 13 minutes. But I gotta say this: anyone who brings up the name Martin Luther King Jr. and infidelity and don't know that COINTELPRO was putting false information out there, including saying Martin Luther King had infidelities against Coretta. How do I know this? Because there's a Black Panther named Geronimo Pratt that talked about COINTELPRO and how they infiltrated the Black Panther Party and how they had documentation of the FBI putting false information out about Martin Luther King. We're not about to do that here. We're not about to do that here. But again, Last Man Standing, Geronimo Pratt's book, go read it. It literally puts a foot in this narrative that Martin Luther King was just out here just willy-nilly with, you know what I'm saying? While trying to get Black people, free, he was out here just doing the fool with everybody else. Let's keep going.
But Coretta's activism was not acting. It was no monologue or delusion of grandeur. She received no awards for perseverance while her family was threatened and attacked. No sympathy when her husband was traveling and she was raising 4 children and leading a revolution at home. The public support of Martin, the visibility and fashion show was a microcosm of the work she did on his behalf and as a whole wife who was married to this movement. So forgive me for not being impressed when I see how girlfriends continue to tear down and prop up Majors. This is no Tracee Ellis Ross sitcom. It's not funny. It's a pattern. And until until we recognize how to steward ourselves.
Yeah, why would you say, if this was a parable, why would you say, John, they talk about us? We. No, what you wanted to do is try to tear down his brother and say that he gets all these patterns, and why is this is literally feminist 101. This is a biased opinion. This is legitimately biased. And again, I would have loved to sit down and talk with the sister, because I don't have no problem saying what I feel. You know what I mean? Or what I know. But to me, this sounds like biasness 101 with that good also tasting good cream of feminism on top of it.
Develop self-control and honor the people around us, a setback will not be the blessing that it should. June 21st, 2024, Tiffany Haddish hosts the Hollywood Unlocked Impact Awards, founded by media personality and love and hip hop star Jason Lee. The Impact Awards were created to honor influencers, celebrities, and icons who have made a lasting impact on the culture. And this was an event honoring Majors with the Perseverance Award for an individual who has shown that no matter what adversity they face, they will continue to aspire to inspire.
What do you want?
She was getting ready. You hear the music swelling? But we're going to get to this too.
Yeah, but that just sounds like a participation trophy in some elementary school for having the second least amount of absences. But what was particularly interesting about the 17-minute speech that Jonathan Majors gave for the award was Iyanla Vanzant's tribute at the beginning.
As a woman who spent 9 years in an abusive marriage, I am both humbled and honored to present this award, the Perseverance Award, to my brother, Jonathan Majors. God will continue to show you mercy for the excellence that you bring to the mastery of your craft. Despite the opinion of human beings, persevere, my brother, because my friends, Mercy and Grace, are willing and strong enough to get you to the other side of any cancellation, because God is forgiving.
And this brings me to why I'm making this video. As I said in the beginning, I really want us to look at Majors, not just as the human that he is, but as the principle, the parable from which we can learn from. I don't mean to objectify anyone in my essay, but I'm going to make an exception because I
don't mean to objectify nobody in my essay, but I'm going to do it anyway.
I think this is incredibly important. Sometimes when we are in the wrong, there are people around us who are well-meaning, who will affirm who we are.
It's funny that, you know, she says that when we are in the wrong. So what we're not going to call out, and Kat did it in the chat, and she didn't want to hear nothing about this. We're not going to call out the fact that he should have never been arrested in the first place. He's the one who called the police. And this is what I wanted to bring up. The reason why he had fear, Sonia Massey is a prime example of that fear. Philando Castile is a prime example of that fear. Mike Brown is a prime example of that fear. Countless of black people who have called the police to get help end up shot or killed. So when he called the police and they took him to jail, how do you think he felt when he knows he never put his hands on this girl, on this woman? When he knows he ran from that woman that night? When he knows he went to a hotel, took pictures of his wounds on his face, in his arms, and all of that, took pictures of his coat. Literally an hour after it happened. Right? But we don't talk about that part. Let's omit that part. Right? And then he has to go to court against a prosecutor who was hell-bent. District Attorney's office, District Attorney Alvin Bragg, who already had beef with the city commissioner of Manhattan in New York, was hell-bent on locking up black men who was messing with somebody who was light bright or damn near white. Not only that, Adam Foss and Kevin Porter Jr., but forget all that part. Coretta Scott King, how dare he tell a white person that she need to be more like Coretta Scott King? That's what burnt your biscuits. What you're mad is that Jonathan Majors was messing with a white woman. That's what you're mad at. And then he turned around and was with a black woman. That's what you're mad at. You know what I mean? This is what it really is. Let's keep going.
To support us. They want to love us. And so rather than point out or critique where we've messed up, they will validate us because that's the nice thing to do. They're going to prop us up in our foolishness because they like us or they want to encourage us on our path forward. But the problem with this approach when it comes to a character flaw that has been exposed in such a public way is that the correction, the accountability should be public as well. The accountability should come publicly. The apology should come publicly. And we've gotten into such a routine as the culture that if you love me, you're going to agree with me. You won't say anything negative to me or about me. And negative could even mean the truth. It can mean things we don't want to hear or like to hear. It could mean things that don't feel good in the moment. So rather than tell people, I love you and you're wrong, I support you, but I don't support the behavior.
Well, she should have said this about somebody else. It said, that's what she should have. She should have did this again for somebody else. Let's keep going because I got to hurry up and wrap this up.
I care about you enough to offend you. We prop up victimhood instead of enticing people towards wholeness. Now, I might have lost some of you, so let me try to make it very plain.
Okay, I am still lost.
What you fall into is an indication of who or what you put your trust in. So if you fall into toxic relationships, it's because you put your trust or your hope in a partner. If you fall to criticism or judgment, it's because you put your trust or your hope in other people's opinions. If you fall because of your ego or your pride, it's because you put your trust in your own ability rather than seeking out help or community, seeking God or seeking support in areas where you're weakened. Ask me how I know. Now, the problem is not Jonathan Majors or Grace.
So really what she's saying is that what you went through a similar situation. Is that what I'm getting at? And these are the precursors. So why didn't you tell your story on the precursors and the things that you went through? And I'm not saying Jonathan Majors is an angel. What I am saying is, based on the information that we have, to create this narrative that he has an ego problem based on a conversation with, with somebody who was drunk that night and he's going off of. If you create a narrative based on some text messages that is heavily redacted, but you never tell your audience that these are heavily redacted, we have to take these with a grain of salt because we don't have the full contextual conversation to be able to have a legitimate, thought on this. You didn't say that. You just created a narrative that is no different than the mainstream media.
Jabari or Megan Good or Jan Van Zant. The problem is us. We are approaching redemption with favoritism glasses on. We are only seeing people through if we like them or we hate them, rather than in the fruit of their lives. And fruit doesn't lie. It tells you what's going on with the tree. Is the root system deep? Is it shallow? Is it a weak structure? Is it rotten? The fruit will tell you. So a true redemption arc for majors, or really anyone, any of us who may be experiencing our own personal hell due to our character issues, our flaws, our choices, or our brokenness, a true redemption arc looks like seeing the importance of time and growth. It pursues humility rather than affirmation. It speaks from a place that is desiring to genuinely change and genuinely grow.
One quick thing, because I do agree with her. I'm not saying I disagree with what she's saying, but remember, these are individuals we're talking about. So each individual, like everybody who's in the chat right now, each individual is going to go through your own individual journey. And what we cannot do is place my journey and what I've been through on you. What I can say is these are the things that I've been through, but God bless you on your journey. Because I can't place what I've been through, you know what I'm saying, on anybody else. That's not fair. That's not right on their part. I can say those things, but it's not one shoe fits all. If that was the case, then we all would do it.
It sees the setback as an opportunity, not to garner sympathy, not to be seen as a victim of a system or a woman or a man.
Wait a minute. So you're not saying that this man was not a victim of false arrest, a dirty prosecutor or a dirty district attorney's office, the things that he went through. He lost his job, lost his PR, lost his opportunities, damn near lost everything over running from a white woman. And we're just supposed to say, well, you can't play victim to that. It's your fault. Because really what she wanted to say, if you want to mess with that white woman, you wouldn't have that problem. What she really want to say. Now, she can see this video and she can critique me. She can say that I'm wrong. She can correct me. But that's why I wanted you here. So we can be able to talk about this together in a mature adult type of way. Let's finish this up.
Prevent future, more severe mistakes. The call for authentic growth and humility in our public figures and our celebrities is all well and good. But if we don't call for authentic growth and humility in our own lives, we have completely lost the plot.
And it's funny that, just real quick, this is the last thing I'm going to say before I wrap this up. It's funny that Jonathan Majors had no prior. We didn't know anything about Jonathan Majors' personal life or anything prior to March 25th, 2023. But yet we are already created a narrative about his ego and the things that he went through. Weird. That's weird to me.
Your victim mentality does not grow you. Your well-meaning intentions and validation so someone doesn't feel bad about their mistakes, that does not grow them as a person. And I'm not saying that you are going to kick anybody while they're down, right? That's not the goal of this. But you also don't prop them up without the proper recovery, without the proper accountability. This is why people keep repeating the same cycles of toxic behavior, because they never fully heal. They never fully grow or get delivered from their issues.
Well, let's just say this. He's been with Megan for over a year now. Have you seen anything toxic so far? Have we seen the same pattern of behavior, the ego and all of this? Have we seen this? Or are we looking to see this? Let's keep going.
They have so many people, their audience, their stands, their social media followers, blowing smoke up their backside with no actual regard for their soul. By creative people, actors, artists, talents who are gifted from God in their skill. But it doesn't matter if we waste it on false humility. And being humbled is not a fun process. Like, it does not feel good. It doesn't usually come with awards or accolades. There are no participation trophies.
I wonder why she didn't write this prior to him getting that Perseverance Award. Because remember, everything was taken for him. Why did she talk about him being humble then? Timing. Let's keep going because I got to get out of here.
For practicing humility. No one sees you in that place. And that is the point. Some of you who feel like you're tired of being called to be the bigger person, to rise above it, to go high when they go low. You just want to be justified in how you're feeling. I get that. The validation that those other people over there were wrong and they did this to you and it's not your fault and you are not to blame. But what if I were to tell you that the next step is the great grace of when people persecute you, when they don't see you? They don't know who you are. And so you're willing to put in the work to match the inside with the outside. Let's get rid of chips on shoulders. They make for phenomenal art and they make for spiritually bankrupt people. My goal in talking about the Perseverance Award and Jonathan Majors is not to disrupt what he's working on. I do think that if he gets help for his anger and his control issues and he plugs up some of these wounds of trauma that have led him to this place, I absolutely think that he can right the ship. But I'm actually more interested and prayerful about his heart. I care more that he grow through the experience and not fall into the trappings of this industry, which chews people up and spits them out. I'm also very careful and prayerful about the young lady that was involved with this. I hope she's healing from this experience as well. And of course, Megan Good and her associations with him and her newfound freedom and Coretta Scott Kingness. For anybody who's
to shots she's taking,
watching and wants to consider what I'm saying, please do so with great soberness. And I know this is a heavier video, so I do appreciate you for watching. But I have to ask, what do you think of the Perseverance Award and Jonathan Majors? Let me know in the comments. You know that I love responding to y'all,
right,
and I do my best.
No, she don't. I'm sorry, sister. That was a lie. I tried to respond to you, and you didn't want to talk. So that was the video. Tell me what you guys think in the comment section. There's a lot to take away from this, but this essay was extremely biased. There was no real work put into really being unbiased and looking at everything in a complete perspective. You know, and saying Jonathan Majors is playing a victim because of what we see in our society when it comes to Black people and cops, especially after we just lost Sonia Massey, George Floyd. The list goes on. And he's not supposed to feel like he's a victim of the circumstance of being a rich Black man in a white neighborhood in a $1 million condo, and they take him to jail. Yeah, I'm supposed to ignore that part though. I'm supposed to ignore that part, but you already know what it's time for.
Yo, the sign is real simple, B. It says wrap it up. Wrap that up, B.
All right, if you're watching this on the replay, don't forget to put it in the comment section below. Let me know what you think about this reaction video, about this video. Is she right? Is she wrong? She does have some valid points. She does. When she's talking about the healing process, all those are valid, but also they don't fit with everybody's journey, right? So anyway, let me get up out of here. Thank you again for tuning in to another episode of the Dre Mack Show. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Don't forget to hit that bell notification so you can never, ever, ever miss one of my videos again. Until next time, I'll holler at y'all later. Peace and vibe power, y'all. Enjoy y'all Tuesday. Where's my outro at? I gotta go. Let's roll. Let's roll out.
Wait a minute. You're telling me the video's over?
What?
Okay, I guess so. If you have came to this portion of the video, thank you so very much for sticking to the end. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Don't forget to hit that little bell notification so you never miss one of my videos. And if you really want to, you don't got to, go ahead and follow the social media links that's down below. Until next time, I'll holler at you guys later. Peace and vibe higher, y'all. Y'all take care of yourself.